guys. In this video, I would like to introduce you to a really, you can say bizarre theory. Okay, it's called Fomenko's new chronology. Okay, it's really, really, kind of famous in the, Russian-speaking world, but in the English-speaking world, kind of not so much. So, I would essentially like to, present it to the English-speaking audience. What the heck this, you know, Fomenko's chronology business is all about. It's pretty, you know, unusual, peculiar, theory. Was some people call it a conspiracy theory. Some people call it a crackpot theory. Some people call it a fringe theory. Some say it's pseudoscience. It's pseudo history. I guess it's all of the above, but to some extent, it's history, and as crazy as it is, I still think there is value in it. Okay, so anyways, let me tell you a little bit about Fomenko's new chronology. So, before you dismiss it as just nonsense, you should know that Anatoly Fomenko, the author of this theory, is extremely intelligent. Okay, he's one of the greatest mathematicians in the world. Okay, so he's a mathematician. He has written textbooks, and his treatises on mathematics have been translated into a lot of languages. So if you go to Amazon.com and you type in Anatoly Fomenko math, you will probably see his amazing 1994 book on topology, which is great. So I mean, it's definitely not a fool. We're talking about. It's not like people who do New Age, who really have absolutely no goddamn intellect. But I mean, it's really interesting, intelligent man who came up with this bizarre theory. So I think that in itself is interesting, and that's one of the reasons why you should check it out. So, anyways, Anatoly Fomenko um, is a mathematician from Russia, working primarily in topology. Okay, and in late 1970s, he decided to apply mathematical methods to history. Okay, so statistics in particular. So I'm not quite sure exactly what he did, but I know some of the things he did was to just analyze word frequency in different texts. Like for instance, you take uh, you know, a Russian historian, document, from the 12th century, and then you look at, you take a look at an ancient Roman, document, and then you look at a medieval, Arabic treatise on history, and you just look at, let's say, a word such as, you know, killed, okay, and you look at how many times, the word comes up in each text, then you look at, the word, such as overthrow, word, like let's say, bastard child, illegitimate king, just kind of look at different, words, and you just kind of look at how, frequent the occurrence is, okay. And incredibly, Fomenko said that the coincidences he found in all these texts, in all these diverse texts, are not accidental according to statistics. Believe it or not. So just to kind of something really important for statistics. In statistics, you can kind of talk about something being improbable if it's not within a 95% probability. There is this thing called Gaussian bell curve, and essentially the way statistics works is kind of something can fall inside this bell curve or in the outer 5%. So if something is in the outer 5%, it's unprobable. Okay, so that's essentially statistics. And Fomenko analyzed a whole bunch of different words in different texts, and just kind of did some linguistic analysis. And according to him, these are not mere coincidences. They do not fall in the sort of regular 95 Gaussian bell curve percent. Okay, they are outside of it. So there must be some shady, fishy business going on in history. And he did lots more kind of statistical analysis, and he essentially came up with a mind-blowing, incredible conclusion that history as we know it, we're talking about history after the 16th century. By the way, he's not questioning kind of Renaissance, French Revolution, these kind of anything that happened after 1600, he's not questioning. But according to Fomenko, anything before 1600 is pretty much a scam. Okay, like the history as we know it is a scam. Okay, um, so he says that it's all made up and it's just a bunch of tricks being done by Jesuits. And there is one bad guy he names, specifically, and that is Cardinal Scaligeri. Okay, Scaliger, he's also known as. So this Jesuit priest, he invented history as we know it, according to Fomenko. So, for instance, there was never any ancient Egypt. It was just made up. Um, just they took essentially Persian Middle Eastern history and stretched it into 2,000 years and said, well, that was ancient Egypt for you. And according to Fomenko, Egypt, like this civilizations which built pyramids, existed in the Middle Ages, from essentially 1000 to 600 A.D. He said that kind of ancient Greece, Byzantine Empire, they're all just multiplied fake entities. Like they essentially took, let's say, uh, modern Italian history and just stretched it for hundreds and thousands of years, and made up ancient Rome. Okay, that's Fomenko's theory. Like, and all these events, such as the Mongol invasions, the Crusades, they were usually they did happen, but at a different time, for a different period of length, and for different causes. Okay, and there is he wrote like many volumes about this stuff, but essentially history as we know it is a scam made up by Jesuits. Anything before 1600 is either falsified or stretched or distorted in some other way. So bizarre, weird, absolutely, but just kind of curious. You see the thing. So let me tell you why would I make a video about this weird theory. You see, Fomenko deals with a lot of physical evidence, like cathedrals, art, coins, like actual physical artifacts, and he brings really interesting things to your attention, which without him you would never have known about. Like for instance, mummies. Okay, like there are these ancient mummies. Okay, they're very super ancient. Old Kingdom, Middle Kingdom. Thousands of years old. And Fomenko asks a really interesting question. When when do we have the latest mummy? Okay, when these Egyptian coffins with all these Egyptian hieroglyphs, when was the latest mummy buried? Like when is the um, you can say youngest mummy that we have? How old is it? And it's 150 years. Okay, just 150 years. Egyptian Copts, they were kind of faithful to the ancient Egyptian traditions, and Christian Egyptian Copts have had those mummies with hieroglyphs, and some of them are a mere 150 years old. I mean, it's kind of interesting physical evidence he gives you, and there's a lot of other fascinating little archaeological things, and you might agree with it, you might disagree with it, but it's just really really kind of interesting, food for thought. And I myself, I don't believe in it. I do believe in kind of official mainstream history, you can say, but it's something you should just check out. Okay, it's interesting.